In 1960, and this explains why I'm in front of you, something happened that nobody expected. And that magical thing that happened, which explains why I'm here, is that there was a presidential debate, and it was the first televised debate. And prior to that, debates had been covered by newspapers or on the radio. And for the first time, it was on television, and something weird happened. Weirder than what we're seeing nowadays. And the weird thing that happened was those who listened to it on the radio said Richard Nixon won. And those who saw it on television said Kennedy won. And not just won, but decisively. And whoa, you can't have both. How can you have one group who listens to it say he won, and the other group who saw it say the other one won? And that difference was the nonverbal communications. Now, in 1960, that's what I looked like. And I was in Cuba. And I was actually that week getting my passport picture because the communists had taken over, things were getting nasty. Priests were disappearing, they had just closed my school. And my parents were thinking, we need to get out of here. And at that time, the word refugee wasn't a dirty word like it is today. So we were going to take refuge somewhere. And that place was the United States. Now, I wanted to save people and be heroic and so forth, and well, things didn't quite turn out that way, so I ended up here in the States. I learned English, and somehow I became an FBI agent. And there's some things that I learned along the way, both as a refugee and as an observer of life. And that's all I was. I was a paid observer. And I want to share these with you because as fascinating as criminals were, they were not nearly as fascinating as the people that I studied along the way. And certainly in the last 15 years in writing books, that I define as really being exceptional. And they're exceptional because of things that are nonverbals. So I'd like to cover that with you today. And nonverbals is very broad. It's everything that communicates but is not a word.